Do it later.
Hello, everybody. This is Tommy Danielson reporting here on the travel minutes of today. We decided to do an extra one today because of the breaking news this morning about Minnesota company turning into a Chinese company, now turning into a part of Choice Hotels. So for those who historically, let me introduce my guest here today that stays at hotels a lot and also has an international perspective on the hotels that are in the chain in question. Marty Post, reporting from Tel Aviv.
Good evening, Tommy. How are things?
Evening. Isn't it like almost midnight there? Or?
11 o'clock, but who's counting? I try and keep East Coast hours.
Right. So that's cool. Good for you. So I think that, in what we've learned today is, I'm not going to say that something had to happen because of the situation that the company put themselves in. So for those of you that are not aware, the Radisson Hotel Group was kind of divided into two. Historically, Residor Hotel, based in Brussels, had the Radisson brand globally, and the Carlson family up in Minneapolis had, based in the Americas. So historically, that's the way it was. It was two programs before. They merged them together to something called Club Carlson. Fast forward until, and the hotels and historically fast forward until 2018 or 19, where a Chinese company purchased the entire company, and there are restrictions of ownership and databases and all that kind of stuff. In regards to, here in the United States, there were restrictions. So they had to split their company up, not the company, the company up in half. There was the Americas, which is the hotels that are here. They're one identical loyalty program and customer database. And then over in Europe, or the rest of the world outside the Americas, was back to being controlled from Brussels. Is that a general correct assessment, or USA Today version of what happened?
Yeah, it works for me.
So I think that you said it a little bit pretty well this morning. So, something had to happen. It wasn't sustainable in the way that it was, transferring points back and forth, matching status. It was just not a good thing. And also having two accounts, and, I have qualifying nights here and I have qualifying nights there. And at the end of the day, they say that it's going to match later. So you kind of couldn't have a good strategy for a global approach to Radisson Rewards anymore.
That's true. And also the Radisson brand in the US was just somewhat struggling. They used to be a bigger brand, and they had been reinventing themselves bit by bit in the US, but they've had a lot of turnover of properties. They just were really kind of a has-been program in the States.
Right. And for those who are not familiar, Radisson Blu were hotels that were, many of them were SAS hotels. They were owned by Scandinavian Airlines. Many of them were 5-star hotels, like, for example, the one in Kuwait, the one in London, the Portman Square, where when it became a Club Carlson hotel, they actually tore down all the walls and made the room smaller, which is a great strategy. So when you came in there, like, things are getting smaller by age, they kind of don't. It's just that they move the walls. So it wasn't. They have a lot of premium hotels outside of the Americas. Well, in the Americas, like you said, they started up with Radisson Blu in Philadelphia, and then they added Chicago, and then they added a few in Minneapolis, and that was it until they added Anaheim recently. But then in the meantime, the strategy in 2013, when this whole thing came together, the strategy was to open a lot of these Radisson Blus in Americas, and that just didn't happen, did it?
No, and it's interesting because there's a lot of issues that happened with Intercontinental and hotels breaking off from there. And Sonesta really, I think, came in and took that market that Radisson was going for.
Right.
And Sonesta just exploded out of nowhere. And, partially because it was a ownership group that already had properties, and others who wanted to affiliate with a company that wasn't bankrupt and would pay them their commissions on time.
Right.
So there was a big exodus from Marriott, IHG, and somewhat from Hilton going to Sonesta. And I think Radisson had really banked on getting those properties into their situation, into their program. And it just didn't end up happening.
Right. And also what we saw, like Club Carlson with or Carlson family itself was kind of a, with the TGI Friday and other focuses on various things. It was kind of, no, it didn't match the European company very well. So they never kind of found each other from having the vast majority of hotels in the US, which is the vast majority of the acquisition here, are kind of hotels where you don't want to stay at. And in Europe, there's a ton, or in many areas of the world, there are a ton of places where you want to stay at.
I'm in complete agreement. I mean, the key differentiator for years about Radisson hotels, it wasn't anything special about the hotel. No, they had the sleep number bed. That was their only key differentiator, was they had the sleep number. And that's where a lot of people got to try the sleep number bed for their first time. But there was nothing special about their properties.
No, I mean, and the vast majority of them didn't, in the US didn't have. The Radisson ones had the sleep number bed. So you had the one on 49th and Lex, there was one. And then there was one, the Martinique came kind of later for a short period of time. In New York, there's no presence at all. But, the vast majority of the hotels in the US aren't Radissons, or in the Americas. They're country inn and suites, which is, kind of, where do we put them? It's like right above Motel 6 and like Best Western type of
I would call it like a comfort inn and suites level.
Right. All right. So let's look at the press release that came out early this morning. And what it pretty much is saying is that the acquisition cost is $675 million for the franchise business, the operations, the intellectual property of Radisson Hotel Group Americas. So that means that the international company that's based in Brussels. It's funny that the press release is out of Brussels, which is not a part of the deal, looks like to me.
Well, and what I think that's related to is right at the tail end, it talks about future cooperations in growing the brand between the two entities, between Choice and Jinyang, I believe is the name of the Chinese group that is owner of the Radisson International branding. So I found that really fascinating to see, why would Choice want to grow something that they bought that they don't have the rights to internationally when they do have some international business?
Right. Yeah. So that's a very good point. And, the history, what we also know is that the headquarters still in Brussels? I mean, when the current CEO, Federico Gonzalez, came in as the CEO, in reality, the vast majority of people are based in Madrid. So Federico Gonzalez came from NH Hotels, which is a small Spanish hotel chain with, I don't know how many rooms they have, how many hotels they have, but much smaller than Radisson, like maybe 300-400. And he
I've
took
only
over.
Stayed in two in my lifetime. One was
there's only one. I've only stayed in one, and it was at the Vienna airport for the Megadoo. And looking at, the guys that we know, the guys that we deal with, because they are part of our business, they are the sponsors of various events. Among one thing, the Loyalty Summit that's in Chicago this week on the 16th, Frequent Traveler Events that owns the various things here, has a sponsorship agreement with the acquired company today in Chicago, and we're hosting it at the Radisson Blu, which is one. And actually, we can see how many hotels there are here. There was listed down at the bottom here. So in the Americas,
hundreds.
Yeah, so we have the acquisition is 10 Radisson Blu hotels. We know about the Anaheim property. We know 2 in Minneapolis. We know 1 in Chicago, and I think the other ones are probably in the Caribbean or something like that, but not that many. And then we have the Radisson hotels, which are generally, I would venture into saying, tired. I mean, I've never stayed at a nice one. And
it's
been
an
a long
unrenovated
time.
Sheraton is the way I would describe it.
Right. Radisson Individual, not sure what that means. One Park Plaza Hotel, 4 Radisson Red, which is a new brand. I think 2 out of those are in Minneapolis.
Correct. It is their hip, youngster, millennial friendly.
Well, it's like the Moxie version, right?
Yes. Except I believe they actually have closets.
Oh, okay, good. Well, that's important. And then, as you can see, the vast majority, so 17 Park Inn by Radisson, which is a decent brand, but then 450 through country and suites, which I think that, we said, so if we look at, if we look at this, it's literally just a lot of country inn and suites, and then some others on the side. And which to me is like, to be honest, I haven't stayed at a country inn and suites. I wouldn't be able to tell you what it is. And that's not a snooty comment. It's just that the loyalty program itself hasn't appealed to me when I stay at a low-end hotel. I just find better options elsewhere. But looking at a Choice, if we look at the other side of the aisle, we know that Choice is not foreign to, they're not unknown it's quite of a unique thing that Choice has a loyalty program within the loyalty program in Nordic Choice. So Nordic Choice has a completely different program that is kind of interchangeable with Radisson Rewards. No, I mean with Choice Ultimate Rewards. And it's because the market in Scandinavia, the loyalty program just isn't good enough. The Choice loyalty program just isn't good enough for the Scandinavians. And that's been said in public by Petter Stordalen, who owns those hotels, right? It's a guy, big, vibrant investor guy who owns these hotels, a hotelier, and a very decent one at that. So at the end of the day, it's what are we talking about here? So we, the Nordic Choice, if we look at Nordic Choice, what they're offering compared to let's see, to what they offer compared to let me see if I can change the tab.
Keep it simple. Nordic Choice hotels are hotels that you want to stay at. They are some of the best redemptions of Choice hotel points, period. Right. Versus Choice hotels in the Americas, just mediocre.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of stuff. There's a lot of, so let's see here. Let's go look and see what you get included. So this is the loyalty program that they have is called Nordic Choice, where it's interesting that they don't have any link on the front page to, let's see if they have it maybe under the menu. Nordic Choice Club. There we go. So the platinum level, which is their 60-night level, it gives you the interesting benefits that you get. I'm not sure, compare benefits table. Here we go. So you get top tier, you get money to spend per day, which I think is 15 euros, or hang on, 13 euros per day, 125 kroner per day. Restaurant vouchers, which you can use to buy, bottles of water, a dish, or whatever you want to go. You get what I think is the free use of gyms when you're not staying at the hotel. You also get, there's early check-in and or late checkout, like a very, very long period of time. You say 6 p.m. guaranteed checkout. That's great. For top tier, which is kind of crazy that they let you hold the room that long. And I think that the early check-in is at 9 a.m. Wow. It doesn't say here possibility of free check-in. And these guys that deliver on these things, they're crystal clear and stuff. You have free mini bar, you got all sorts of fun stuff going on. So I would venture into saying that these hotels, they kind of do a good job with that. And they also, if you have the credit card, you get the annual fee gets reduced. So the silver one's $5.95, so about $60 a year, Swedish. I mean, I don't know if it's Norwegian kroner or Swedish kroner, but $495 or $295, so you get a reduction in price for having their credit card, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, I mean, these are good loyalty programs that they have.
But everything that you're saying is very easy to do when you're a single franchisee.
Right.
When it's one owner, it's easy to accomplish all this. When you have
but we're talking
owners,
400 hotels here. It's nothing to
right?
sneeze at. It's a substantial, and that's why probably Petter Stordalen set the choice. I said, hey, I have a competition situation in Scandinavia. I have Scandic Friends, and Scandic Friends are offering all of these things. Scandic Friends used to be aligned with Hilton Honors back in the day.
Right.
And they were kind of piggybacking on that. And they said, hey, these guys are getting this and they're getting that. I need to compete. And I can't compete with the loyalty program that you guys are offering. So I want to start my own program. And they had to let him do it because, you know, losing 400 properties, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's some franchisee dollars that are significant. So I would think that rolling, starting the press release is a little bit cryptic, and they're going to close the deal in 60 to 90 days.
That's pretty amazing. But if you think about the scale of this merger as compared to the big guys in the US, they're not even going to touch a Hilton, a Bonvoy, or Hyatt. They're not even close in scale. So taking two of the little guys and making them into a slightly larger little guy is not going to markedly change the landscape in the US. So even
at Choice Hotels, how many rooms are they? They have 5,000-6,000 hotels, right?
Right.
So I mean, at the end of the day, what that tells me that the closing date is very, very short. Mm-hmm. That tells me that the loyalty program is going to be rolled into not Nordic Choice. I wish the Radisson Rewards Americas is going to be rolled into Choice Hotels. But then again, what does that mean for the members that are members outside? What does it mean for status match? What does it mean for qualifications between the two? I don't know.
You know, it reminds me, it's been a while since you've seen, these types of mergers. I'm thinking right now of, Caesars and Eldorado Resorts, and their initial foray into it was just status matching back and forth.
Right.
So if you were a status member in one of the programs, you could instantly do the match back and forth. You could instantly convert the points back and forth. And from a logistics standpoint, it enables breathing room for two systems that may be completely incompatible with one another.
Right.
I think the biggest thing that people have the Radisson credit card for is they have a liberal free night coupon that comes with the credit card. So the
credit card is now canceled, right? It disappears at the end of this month.
That's right. I knew the U.S. Bank was getting rid of it. I lost track of when it was.
Yeah, it's the end of this month, and I have it myself. I like the card, and I get it just for that, and also for the 40,000 points you get per year. It's a phenomenal deal for $69. The only thing is that the card has, foreign transaction fees, and I was stupid enough to put a $30,000 event on that card, and so needless to say, I had to reverse that charge and charge it on another card, which is it was the last holding out, one holding out for the Starwood Preferred Guest had a long time without their credit card having a waiver for foreign transaction fees, and that would till this day the Radisson card has that. So they're just disappearing at the end of the month, which to me tells me that this has been talked about for a while, and it probably is why. So it's 3 months ago since the message was was sent out to all members that they were discontinuing that. And also, you the 69 or 79, I don't remember how much it cost. It also gives you the gold status, right? So. Yeah. So, but to me, right? To me, it just tells 7,000 hotels is how many Choice has. So obviously, this is much smaller. Short closing time for the deal means that they've got some good people working at. And it's been. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to talk on their behalf, but I can imagine working in an environment where you're bound by the government is restricting how you can run your business, as must have been frustrating for the guys. And I absolutely love Matt, who is the head of the program there. He's just a really smart guy. And there are so many smart people that I know that has worked in Radisson Rewards. And unfortunately, I don't know what the future holds for these guys, but they've got some good resources. And I'm sure, Jamie Russo is also nothing to sneeze at either. All are very, very smart guys, strategic, smart, and forward thinking. And he's the head heads up the choice privileges. And I think that hopefully he will think twice about what happens. But I mean, the closing time to me, or the time of the closing, just feels to me like that it's going to be that these hotels are going to be a part of choice privileges. And that's obviously I don't know. The press release doesn't mention the loyalty program, what happens with that. But the question to me is, like, we have the vast majority of hotels, the Radisson Blues, the Radisson Reds, all these better hotels are outside of this deal. What will happen to them? Will Radisson Rewards again be a global program? Will maybe the hotel, will it be restricted, obviously, in some sort of way, where they can open new properties? They can't open them in the Americas. Is there going to be some sort of a carry all between the two? Like we said, Choice has long had experience with being in a similar situation as well. So I don't know. It's exciting to see, and also interesting that obviously that the acquisition wasn't for the whole company is interesting. Maybe something is brewing in Madrid with NH Hotels. Who knows?
I think it really is just going to solve the sinking ship issue of Radisson. It's going to give Radisson the U.S. side of things. It's going to give it direction. It's going to give it a strong anchor, and that's what was really played up in their external communications. Is it's going to allow Choice to go more upmarket, upscale in the Midwest, in the West Coast, specifically California. So those are areas of weakness, and with a clientele that's otherwise perhaps averse to booking Choice hotels, I think it'll open up opportunities for them. And, it's just like everything else, it's customer acquisition. If you can get the customers in and you rope them in with the Radisson, and then they go stay at that Country Inn and Suites just because of the loyalty program, bonus to them.
That group is a gimme. There's plenty of hotels that matches that quality or that level of hotels. So that shouldn't be any transition for the Choice members. They're just going to get access to more hotels. I mean, 462 hotels. That's a significant amount of hotels to get under your umbrella, especially here on the West Coast, since there aren't many Choice hotels to speak of. And it's also finally the Radisson Blu in Anaheim. I've heard really good things about that. I haven't stayed, but at the end of the day, it was one of very few expansions that we saw from Radisson Blu. They said they were going to be aggressive in 2011, and here we are over 10 years later, and they've opened a handful in the Americas. Philly, Chicago, and the two in Minneapolis in that one. I don't know if there's any more. I don't think so. Let's go to comments. Yeah, the card was, they didn't get rid of it in May. The notice went out in March, I think. I think it's 3 months notice. And it is still valid. I'm still going to pay the event coming this week on that card for my last purchase on it for Chicago. And then at the end of the month, it'll convert over to a U.S. bank generic card. I don't know what it was called, but it's one of those.
Or something.
Right. Radisson Management should be fired, started with Barry O'Neill. Yeah, I don't, honestly, not familiar with the management itself. I'm only familiar with the guys who run the program, the loyalty program, and they have always done a phenomenal job. I mean, from Teresa Comparato, who is a huge fan of her. She's just great. Ephraim Berman and now Matt Vaccarella, who is a really smart guy that knows how to, it's a situation that they've been put in that's just difficult. What's to see? Radisson Management should have aligned themselves with Hilton, but Operation VP have run it like a budget limited service, more focused on towards Country Inn and Suite. Well, it's 90% of their portfolio in the Americas. So that makes sense to me, being not a hotelier, but a loyalty expert. Somebody says they've gotten the replacement card. I don't think I have. Melinda, did I get a replacement for the Radisson card from US Bank? No, I have not gotten it yet. So that's interesting. Good. Thanks for the heads up. I can't see the Facebook part of it. I can only see the YouTube comments, who is actually commenting. But I think that we've said what we want to say. We're just going to have to wait and see. We'll every other Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday, we have the Miles and Points report where we're going to go a little bit more in depth. And we're obviously going to see the good folks from Radisson Rewards Americas on Thursday. We'll see how that goes. But I think that exciting times, but many questions that needs to be answered. What happens in regards to the international piece of the business?
I agree. Only news to find out. Curious to see what happens.
Right. And this is Marty Paz. Thank you for joining us from Tel Aviv late tonight. And Tommy Danielson for here from California, a little bit late lunchtime. Thanks for dialing in. Rudy is back in business tomorrow. He just came back from vacation, and he is going to be back online for the next show. Thanks, everybody, for joining, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Cheers.